In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in black and white emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we discuss the issues that plague the underserved and marginalized communities and how we can best solve them. Today, we have a very special guest. We've got Coach Clement Williams with us this evening. Allow me to introduce you to Coach Clement, a dynamic and captivating coach who has spent over 3 decades honing his skills. From the very beginning, Coach Clement was drawn to people via listening to his grandmother counsel couples and watching until he had his chance to shine. He began as an athletic trainer for locals and sports teams, so began Top Cap coaching. With his exceptional ability to truly listen and understand the needs of his clients, Coach Clement quickly became known for his empathetic and compassionate approach. He went beyond the surface level of physical training, delving into the mindset and emotions of his clients to help them achieve their goals. Coach Clement's passion for motivating others led him to explore the realm of mindset and NLP coaching, recognizing that success and fulfillment go hand in hand with a strong sense of self and positive mindset. He dedicated himself to helping individuals of all backgrounds unlock their full potential and find like frequencies. Philanthropy in his community is his pastime and enjoys teaching and mentoring our people in financial literacy, connection skills, presentation, and listening skills. Drawing on his extensive experience and knowledge, Coach Clement empowers his clients to overcome self limiting beliefs, cultivate resilience, and develop a mindset that fosters growth and success. His unique blend of motivational speaking and practical guidance creates a transformative coaching experience that leaves a lasting impact. He praises his ancestors and would not be here without their tutelage. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Coach Clement Williams.
It'd be nice. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Coach Williams, but we can't see you.
All right, let's see if we can get that taken care of. I'm not sure why it's not coming up. All right, give me 1 second. All right, we're going to do this another way. So, what I'm going to do is go to my second source and start with there. Sometimes you have technical difficulties. It can't stop the show, though. They still going to get it. Let me just get this taken care of. Coach. All right, Charles, got you. All right, let me switch. Sorry about the delay. I think we got it. Let's see. Join stream. Let's get you off this. Oops, sorry. Let me turn off this other one.
There
Can you
we
hear me?
go. I see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Can everybody hear me? That's the thing right there. Can everybody hear me?
I'm sure that everybody will be able to hear you.
Hey, man, really sorry for the technical difficulty. I'll make sure the next time that gets pre-checked. Looks like my son has some things to do, but I'm glad to be here, man. Good to talk to you again and see you again.
Surely. Is there anything before we get into the show? Is there anything you'd like to add to your bio that I just read off?
Um, Actually, as always, man, you did a great job. Um, the for sure the helping our people, and it's all people, right? You help our people, you helping all people because we started it all, did it all. So it's important that we acknowledge that we have a story, and this is really what it's about, man. It's being real. Is we have a story as well, and we want to make sure that that story gets out as well. So it all goes hand in hand.
Can you share what inspired your interest in financial literacy, especially in terms of understanding different currencies?
Um, it's really you have to be. What inspired me was just being in the know, the type of people that I'm around, and I learned that you learn that early as well. If you want to grow and you want to be that that person that's successful, whatever you deem success to be, and since we're talking financial, then you have to be around people who are adept to that as well, right? At your level, whatever your level is, and we're not saying be like anyone else, but if you feel that there are different currencies or there are different methodologies, and you're hearing this jargon and you're hearing people talking about it, and you're just spending money or you're just using U.S. currency, then yeah, I felt I was missing something because people were talking about investing, they were talking about dividends, capitalization, things like that. So it made me curious. It made me start to go to books and start to read for sure.
Okay. So, how do you think our understanding of money and currency can change the way we approach financial markets?
Yeah, good question. Obviously, we can apply that to life, man, and to everything. If you're, more educated on the things that you're going after,
Mhm.
obviously you're going to feel a little more confidence. Your vibration is going to be higher. You're going to radiate confidence, and that's a big part of it because you've gotten that information, right? You've done your homework, and that's the key: is doing your homework, understanding that it's not for us or for you to know everything. When you get that stimulation and you recognize that you have to go to find it, where those experts are, or that book. And that's what I did. So I found out, and you find out that, the currency we may be in right now, let's say the dollar, keeping it simple, that may not and is not going to be the currency that takes us forward. It absolutely isn't. Because what we've learned, and I've learned, the dollar is not backed by anything. And when I say backed by anything, it's like this, Charles. If I give you $1 and you give me something worth $1, right?
Mhm.
That's value, right? That's a transaction. That we consider that a fair transaction. That
Right.
makes sense.
Yes.
However, if I give you $1, I mean, I'm sorry, if the value is $1, meaning the product, but the value of the dollar doesn't equal that, then basically that piece of paper or that dollar that I have becomes almost worthless because it can't even buy something that actually costs $1. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that piece of paper becomes worthless. In the 60s, it was backed by gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means
Right.
that we couldn't print, but the amount of paper that we had proof that we could back it in case we went bankrupt as a nation or as a
Right.
corporation, because the United States is a corporation. Um, so we have to be more familiar. Excuse me. We have to become more familiar with the history of this. So, and if we find out the dollar is not as valuable, bro, we have to find out something that is valuable so we can diversify, right? We can invest in something other than just saving dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take those dollars and invest it in something, let's say gold, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, which we know is material. It is something that I can possess, and it has crazy universal value. Can anyone disagree with that, or does everyone agree with that?
No, I don't think anyone would disagree with that. I mean, because when it comes to when you're doing valuations, valuations is where this all begins. And so, in knowing that the value of the dollar, we understand. I'm sure that most people now realize that that value is like decreasing, 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 decreasing. And so I think it's like when you come up with something that when you talk about a dollar itself in general and just paying with the currency we have that's present day, it's like primarily it's almost like the cost of everything going up is to make up for that difference. And
Exactly.
so pretty much so everything is going into that. So um, I guess that's just another thing as what I was just going to come to as a follow up is so the people where your students or your clients that you're teaching financial literacy to, I mean, like, what are their reactions to the fact that the when we talk about valuations and we talk about the dollar and so forth, what are their opinions and how do they feel about that?
Well, it's usually, and unfortunately, it's not from a learned position. It's from a belief, right? It's from how they were taught
Hmm.
growing up, or excuse me, or what they learn as they come up. So clients, particularly, and just like you, myself, and hopefully the audience, and thank you, by the way, guys and girls and folk who are out there, we appreciate you. um, we want the most bang for our buck, I think is some of the slang you might hear. And all that means is when I spend the bloody dollar, I want a dollar plus in value, right? If there's such a thing. And it used to be that way, the dollar, because America was so-called the country, the golden country. And when it come to capitalism was the thing, the value of the dollar holds great value. So you could actually get more for a dollar. In other words, going to other countries, you have a dollar. That could be $2 in other countries or $1.50 in other countries. You know what I mean? So it had a certain appeal. Now, with other currencies that are coming out there challenging America's supremacy or the dollar supremacy, such as cryptocurrency. I mean,
Hmm.
we just went through an election. Excuse me. We just went through an election. Um, and no matter how we felt about it or how we feel about it, we've gone through many elections, right?
Hmm. Right.
Um, and our plight remains the same. It
Hmm.
absolutely remains the same.
Hmm.
So while they're doing what they're doing to hide, to continue to misappropriate or reappropriate, it goes to what are we teaching our kids, right? What are we allowing them to learn and get out of that house with? So we almost got to go back to where this literacy has to happen at home. We talked about that the last time we talked. A lot of it has to happen at home. And if
Hmm.
they don't have it at home, they have to be strong enough because they're parenting, right? Parenting. Um,
Hmm.
they're paying the rent for these kids. And if we don't get them to the right position, we don't teach them that. And in fact, what are we teaching them? Right? You know what I mean? I'm asking you guys out there, what are you teaching your kids if you're parents? Are you teaching them emotional intelligence? Are you teaching them where they're from, who they are? Are you teaching them that their ancestors built this planet and the oldest people on the planet, thousands and thousands and thousands of years before other people showed up? Are you really teaching them that? Because if you're not teaching them that, what's happening is other folk are teaching their kids because they were the conquerors, the colonizers. And when you conquer, you rewrite, you take away what's normal to the people you conquered, and you put in front of them pictures of you, idealisms of you, right? You take away
Okay.
you take away them, that spirituality of them. So we may not have had a chance to really teach our kids and be strong with them on finance because we had to teach them how to survive. If you're not teaching them how to survive, other kids, they're going to school in these schools that are built to make them assimilate, to make them non-free thinkers, to make them sit in rows, walk in rows, ask permission to go to the bathroom. You got to have permission to check them out. So what can you possibly teach them? What are they learning about themselves? You have to teach them that before they leave, is my point. With the money as well, because we didn't have a lot of it. We bartered, right? We grew up, that's not his story. That's a lot of our story too. We bartered a lot. We did different things. We had different trades, different professions that we could share with that makes sense in the community. You do for me, I do for you.
Right. Right.
Washes the other, right?
Right.
So if they're not getting a good idea of who they are before they leave, like you and me and our kids and grandkids and things, if we don't give them a good sense of who they are, what we did in society, someone else is telling them. They already took it. They had this beautiful picture of, I don't know what his name was. They called him Jesus, but of course the J wasn't invented yet. But they had this beautiful picture that Michelangelo drew. And for so many years, even one of my grandparents had that picture. At 8 years old, I called it out. It can't be a person that we can look up to because it doesn't look like me. So part of our history, part of our training, part of our education, we have to take back our story. We have to take it back because right now it's theirs. Even on the money side, crypto. People, that's the other thing that we need to get educated on. We need to understand what this is. Because if we don't, then we get left behind. Your new president is about Bitcoin. That's a type of crypto, by the way, cryptocurrency, electronic currency. And actually, now that we're investigating it, it's very safe. So you can't compare it to the bank that you grew up with, right? Because you know who made those, and you know what that dollar is becoming and what it's worth. Circle back to the dollar. So I need to have diversification. I need to have my money in other places because if that bank fails, or they tell you, oh, by the way, you can't come back and get your money, what are you gonna do then? Type it in the
Right.
comments. What are you gonna do when the bank says, hey, you know what? I know you put in $10,000, $20,000. I can't give you your money right now. Can you come back tomorrow? Are you kidding me? I got to come back tomorrow to get my money that you're using, that you
Right.
charge me interest just to go borrow it. Okay? So we have to take back. We're talking about finance. We have to talk back. Clients always talk about how do I keep more, and we talk about diversification. We talk about what are you spending your money on. You know the three purposes for money. The way it currently stands, and then they have a little trepidation, a little fear, like everyone else. Like how far is it going to go? Everything is increasing, and my dollar value is decreasing. What am I gonna do, man? You know. So
Yeah.
first, I got to have more than one income stream. That means if you're working this man's job or this woman's job, you better have multiple avenues to have other money because if they say, "Oh, by the way, you're laid off,"
Yep. Yep. And she always pops up at the wrong time. And so I'll tell you one thing about that though is with this incoming administration though, when it comes to January 20th,
yeah,
I think one thing that people have better get ready for us that are on these jobs and depending upon these jobs is that the profits that these companies have made and were making these last 4 years, they're hell-bound set on keeping those profits. So you can rest assured that they're going to go back to that old concept from 2016 up to 2020, which is we can get more done with a smaller workforce.
Yeah, I mean, and think about it. So about 3, 4 years ago, no, maybe 2 years ago, we started hearing more about Amazon using robotics.
Yep.
Okay. Now, of course, they were using before that. It's all being tested and now safe. So now you have these millions of robotics in the world. AI has become very prevalent, and they became very prevalent very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing people are missing. First, you heard about it, and all of a sudden, it's already included in everything. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is that? If you're not going to have a universal income or universal salary, because quite frankly, we were born, we're indigenous to this land, to the
Mm-hmm.
Americas. We are indigenous. When Columbum on this ship, he couldn't even get it right in his diary. He described us clearly. Okay? Nothing against our native brothers, our native sisters, but they are native. And the mere definition of native means you weren't born here.
Mm-hmm.
We are indigenous or
Mm-hmm.
indigenous, meaning we were born from this land directly. So
Mm-hmm.
you can put us on Africa, you can do that, but there was other tribes. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking strictly about us.
Mm-hmm.
We have ownership to this land. It's crazy I have to pay money and I'm a natural, I was born here. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that's the thing that we have to go deeper and think about some of the things we deserve, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a system that was not built for you. It was not built for you to really be how we're talking now. We're supposed to fall in line and say, yes, sir, no, sir. We're supposed to fall in line and say, hey, that's going to be too much trouble if we talk about that. Man, we shouldn't really talk about that. We got to whisper and talk about that. We don't want these people to hear. What people to hear? We don't want these people to hear that we're talking about bettering ourselves like we did in 20s, 30s, 40s, 1800s, 1700s. We,
Right.
we were tight. We were
Mm-hmm.
our own communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then
Right.
other things happen like integration. So, and families started being broken up. People weren't business people anymore, entrepreneurs. So
Mm-hmm.
you control me when you have me working for someone, and you told me if I go to college and graduate, I can start my own business and have people working for me. Okay. So we just need to condition our children, A, who they are, before they leave the house. Number two, I'm not sending you to these schools so you can go and work. I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending you to school to improve the bloodline, to evolve the bloodline, to keep evolution happening so that you can contribute to society, right?
Right.
Intellectually. Because again, if you are not teaching them that we started it all, what are you really teaching them? I mean, we've learned every language, every nationality, but
Mm-hmm.
not many of them, or a lot of them, learn ours.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, we got disconnected from it.
Mm-hmm.
So the vibrational energy, all of that, the spirituality, they took that because they put it in a book that they stole called the Bible. They put it in that book and then put us in a square building, kept us trapped in there, gave us orders. They had a hierarchy in there, and it became like the government. Absolutely became the government. And I got the Black's Law Dictionary, bro. And when you
Mm-hmm.
the legalese and the definition of these words,
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand that we're entities. We're not like people. We're entities. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
The United States is a corporation. We're the only country that got states. Only
Mm-hmm.
continent that got
Yeah.
states. No other.
Yeah.
Nobody else has that, right?
Right.
So in this scenario with this other administration, and I hate to say other administration because the government, it's the same. All roads lead to the same. This is for educational purposes only, by the way. Um, all roads lead to the same place. So whether you're blue, red, green, I don't care, right? It shouldn't be there. We are naturalized. We are people who were born here. Well, what do we need? What do we need that for? We don't need people. They're supposed to be there for us, like police officers. They're supposed to be there for us. And who we are, worship is crazy. Okay, it's absolutely crazy. But how we come out of it is we have to know who we are. We have to keep our financial literacy together. We have to really be on top of it. We have to share that with each other. If we see our brethren, now not all skin folk or kin folk, but if we see our brethren going askew with this and misappropriating their money, getting into the materialism a bit much, then we have to help them because there are people live right beside them that may, be challenged by food. And no human should be challenged by that. So there's a lot going on for us in our history that they've worked on and perfected. We got our own people turning on our own people when we're asking them to stand up and tell your kids about who they were before Columbum came by and told you about the pilgrims and Thanksgiving and things like that. And we shouldn't be celebrating that. That was a murderous event. They laugh at us when we do that, bro. So when you do, get in the library and get those books and start reading what they're not telling you. If people are telling you one thing and you're taking it all, just taking it all, there's something going on with that. I don't care who it is, black, white, blue, or green.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been shoved down our throats in these
Right.
books, our kids in these books, unless you to, melanated schools. These books only show them. So if you're not telling them, that is not correct. They are the conquering tribe, right? We are being held here hostilely. Okay. We just had to adapt. This is historic. I mean, history, it happens. Certain nations conquered other nations. But in this scenario, if we're not teaching them that, then they only have the narrative of what they've been fed. And now, with the Great Awakening, we know now that a lot of that has been misappropriated.
So, what are some common misconceptions people have about financial markets that you like to clarify?
So let's just talk with period, like with investing. So investing is using your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so so that and trusting, right, in a platform that someone else can use your money to buy certain interests in products, businesses, services. Okay. Um, Now, in that scenario, what we have to learn is that investing is not a bad thing. You don't need a lot of money to invest. $50, $25. Okay. So that's a misconception. People think you need a lot of money. And they think that you're gonna lose this money. Okay. There are no get rich quick schemes in that scenario. And if you're gonna go investing, now you can switch it over. And we talk about, I mentioned earlier, diversify. Diversify. Diversify is if you're going to have money in a bank and it's drawing a certain percentage. So if I have $100, it's getting 4% interest in my savings account, but I can take that same 100 and invest it in crypto and get 9%, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just for example, I'm just trying to help people see I'm gonna make $4 a night, right? Or whatever. I guess 10% would be that to be fair. So, but if I did that, would it be okay to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep 50 in the bank, but I'm going to throw 100 in over here.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see how it's really going to work, right? And once I'm comfortable, because I've done my homework, I did my education, I've talked to people who's invested millions or thousands of dollars, so, and I'm only starting out experimenting with it, then I'm going to have a high degree of confidence in my 150 bucks on the crypto side or on my diversification side. And that could be with stocks. You don't have to get the same type of stocks, right? The utilities. I like gold, so and hard stone things like that. I like that because I know that the world is going to need that. Nothing is ever going to happen with that. You can walk around with, walk around with gold, but I know it's
Mhm.
going to have value, right? Um, and even in crypto, the same type of diversification that stock has. People use
Mhm.
their 401ks. Um, some people take their Social Security and invest it in crypto. We had a
Mhm.
couple of athletes, bro, who said they wanted to get paid half their salary in crypto. And I think
Mhm.
if you Google it, I think you'll see that I think he invested 2.5 million and now it's worth 6.5 million.
Right.
Okay.
But
So,
it's still black market though.
well, here's what they said. They said the weed market is black market too, right? I mean,
Right.
go to your plug. And now when I go to the dispensary, the only people I see in there are Caucasian people.
Right.
So help me understand that. All right.
Mhm.
And I say it right while I'm in there because they know I'm a coach and we have good conversation. Like I say, in a
Mhm.
minute, guys, where the black people at? I thought we the only one smoke.
Mhm.
Whatever, you know what I mean? Uh,
Mhm.
but just to understand that you don't have to get in it. But if you had gotten in it 10 years ago, look where you'd
Mhm.
be at, right?
That's true.
So, right, the .com. You and I remember the .com boom. We're like, what? Internet.com? What? If you had bought um, Christmas.com or Honda.com or whatever, look how
Mhm.
much money you would have made. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes we have to lose our fear and take that jump. Now we still got to stay under the radar because of this administration. We don't know what's going to go on, right?
Mhm.
But they now are loving crypto because your boy said that he likes it. Okay, and I want to say this. I find that, and I'm not a political person on sides or things like that, but I find
Mhm.
that my workings with so-called conservative folk, they are more, how can I say it? And this is gonna freak you out. They are more apt to change their view than a
Mhm.
so-called liberal or Democrat.
Mhm.
In other words, you can have the most radical, to me, this is my opinion, from my experience, and I have a lot of MAGA hat wearing clients, right?
Mhm.
And after we get to know each other and love each other, man, and really just get to really what the beliefs are, whatever. I'm telling you
Mhm.
right now, I had not had one cat that has put that to the side.
Mhm.
Totally put it to the side. I'm not by me asking them,
Right.
just us communicating. So I feel like
Mhm.
once we communicate, it's gonna take everyone to get to where we need to go as humanity. Okay, it's gonna take everyone, but it's gonna
Mhm.
take everyone first acknowledging that we were first on the planet. Until
Mhm.
I don't care about I love financial literacy. Stuff is holding us back. We spend more than every nation, but maybe two or three. We spend
Mhm.
more than most nations. So guess what, folk out there? Who's being marketed to?
Mm.
Who is driving the economy? You can talk about it. You can say whatever you want,
Mhm.
but you ask any of them, who do they market to? They even call Black Friday. I know it says you want to be even on Black. You want to make a little bit of profit. No,
Mhm.
no. Everything that you do, they do indirectly or directly comes at our eyeballs and comes at our ears. So we have to understand our money, the value of our money. We have to
Mhm.
understand that we have to diversify. We have to understand that the dollar is not the end all. The dollar is going to hurt you if you put all your ducks in that row. So I need everyone to really just say to themselves, I need to do three things. I do need to look at another option for currency. I'm not saying just crypto. I'm saying don't call it. I know what you said it was. Um, however, I've made money out of crypto. I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't. Uh,
Mhm.
and I was as skeptical as anyone. I told people
Mhm.
5 years ago I'm not going to do it. Right?
Mhm.
And now Bitcoin just cracked $100,000 for a coin.
Mm.
A coin. So the technology is sound now. It's safer than a bank. The only way you get ripped off is if you deal with someone as opposed to dealing with a platform that is back. That the term blockchain itself
Mhm.
is unbreakable. No one can hack it and do all of that. What they do is like your bank. Instead of having a bank, you have a wallet. Your wallet can be like it can be online or electronic, or you can have it like a thumb drive, which is called cold storage. You take it offline. I use
Mhm.
cold for big amounts. I use Coinbase wallet for little transactions, and they are encrypted and secure too. If anything happened to your money, you get it back.
Mhm.
Okay, so we need you to investigate. Don't take anybody's word. Obviously, trust but verify. I think Mr. Reagan said that back in the day. Um, so that you can learn this yourself, but you have to diversify. You can't just keep it in 401k. Uh, you can't just wait for Social Security because this other administration needs money. The thing
Mhm.
that they're about to do is going to cost money. If you're in real estate, handle your business now. Absolutely handle it now. If you're thinking about going out of the country, handle some of that business now as well because we're about to alienate a lot of people. So I need y'all to fly low, under the radar, get your education together on what's going on, what's really going on. Understand that if you take back the control, and here's how you do it. The way is so easy, bro. The way you get control back is understand these two things. This body
Mhm.
is just your vehicle. It's to get you point A, point B, have you communicate like we're doing now. We should be communicating telepathically. Low vibration is talking. It really is. We used to communicate way better than that. But because of stress that we've been under for these 400 change years, okay, here, and all these other things, it's having us have to come down so that we can communicate with the people who don't vibrate highly. Feel me on this now. And you
Mhm.
talk intellectual, we're talking about communication. You've talked to people and they say, "What are you talking about?" You're right. Because it's not an intelligence thing, it's a vibration thing. Okay. So we just have to get back to our roots. And our roots are we started it all. We have it here. It's there. We just got to trigger it. We got to have something to trigger it and then practice it. And then try to stay higher, higher, stay happier, and don't be afraid for people to call you out or to say something about your avatar. It's okay because my spirit is what controls my avatar, right? So everything around me I'm connected with. If you're connected with everything, I mean everything has a purpose. This water I'm so-called sipping on has a purpose. It's alkaline water, by the way.
Mhm.
Um, as they say, we're batteries, so I'm drinking alkaline water. It's important for us to know that the sun charges us, right? Charges our melanin. It's okay for us to know 85% of the world is melanated. 85%.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say any more about that because you're already
Mhm.
okay. So
Right.
it's on us, bro. And I just did a master class, just to switch gears a second, goes with the financial literacy too. What else takes your money? Okay. So we know food, we know bills, we know these types of things. You know what else takes your money? When you get in a situation with law and you're not ready for it, you don't understand it. As simple as getting stopped. That's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you a lot more if you don't understand who these people are. Their education level is usually GED, not even high school grad. Okay. No disrespect to them. They have a job to do. And you must know the job that they are out there to do. And once you do, you can have great interactions because your job is not to make them feel bad. It's to be disrespectful, to be smarter than. You know what it is? Is to get your ass to that next day. Is to get
Mhm.
home that next. That's your job when you're stopped because you know
Mhm.
our life is not high when we
Right.
get stopped and they have the wrong attitude or we trigger them or whatever it is. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm actually teaching our young men and women and parents how to keep their kids so they can come back home to them because kids are starting to drive now, and there are a lot of them out there, and they talk too much because they're scared and they do not know this legal lease. It's called legal lease, guys. I need you to look this up. LEGALESE. This is the communication you get from law enforcement. You don't get English. language. You get legalese. And you have to understand this. And I do a master class on it, by the way. We can talk about it, put it in chat later. So, we covered a lot of detail, but it really comes back to the same thing. Our story cannot be his, and he's forced it on us. So can't blame anyone. The facts are the facts. They're coming out. If we get this financial thing together, diversify, go to the library. That's what they hold the lies. That's what you can figure them out. Go there, get this information. Do not allow, do not get left behind. I apologize. Don't get left on this financial wagon. You do not have to keep hearing the dollar is not going to be. There are other countries that are joining together. One purpose is to break the dollar's back. So do not have all your eggs in one basket. I'm telling you, this administration is telling you this too. When they start saying, waving their hand and say crypto is okay, Bitcoin, it's cool. Trump has his own coin. Come on now. They start doing that and you seeing that, they put things in plain sight. You just overlook it. It's in plain sight. Diversify.
In your opinion, why is it crucial for Black communities to have a strong grasp of financial literacy?
That's what if we don't have this grasp, here's what happens. So we got 100 families, maybe they have 1 or 2 kids, now we got 200 kids. We got 200 kids that and let's just for sake of argument, they're born the same time. We're gonna put them in home education or their education the same time. And 50 of them, we're gonna make sure they're tight. We're gonna make sure before they're 6 years old, they know how to balance a budget. They understand how we shop, why we buy certain things. We're teaching them nutrition. We're teaching them how to prepare their food, not cook it. All these things we're preparing them, right? We're teaching them about themselves, who they're from. The other 50, we didn't do that. We taught them who they were, how strong they were, where they come from, kings and queens, etc. We didn't get into the religious part. We made sure they were spiritual as opposed to man-made religion and all this other stuff. We want them to love everything and everybody. Okay?
Mhm.
So now they go to school. They get in class and they spending their money. They going to lunch. They buying this and that. You start to see it right then. You see that kids that don't have literacy will spend their money on foolishness and barely can count their change.
Mhm.
Right? The kids that have it, they're probably bringing their lunch. They're probably going to Costco buying 50 of them, right? And then paying
Right.
pennies on the dollar as opposed to buying them in a convenience store and paying 99 cents for it, right? Nine's not a
Right.
power number, so everything is with nine. Um, that's where you see it. So, and when I talk to
Mhm.
okay, something happened. I apologize. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Can
I
you hear
can
me?
hear you.
Okay, I apologize um, for the technical difficulties. Yeah, so I feel that I lost my train of thought because I didn't have, I didn't feel like you could see me because it seemed like I blocked out. Um, but every day, man, with these young kids and talking about them, seeing these differences, they start to notice it themselves. Then what happens is bullying. They get bullied. They start losing money because they may not count as fast as the other kid or not understand the value. But the kid that does brings his lunch, doesn't have cash on him, right? Rather have it making money for him than having it in his pocket. The kid that that knows how to balance his books knows that if he has $2, but he owes someone $3, that he's still negative a dollar.
Mhm.
I mean? Whereas the other kid may say, I owe you, I know I owe you, and I'm going to give it to you. He may have the money in his pocket, but he doesn't understand the value of making financial partner with this person by someone loan you something, give it back to them, and then give them a little extra. Guess what? Now you have a person that'll give to you darn near forever until
Mhm.
until you stop. So money, it's not necessarily that piece of paper. Value, money is value. So if you can have more value than what the money is, as we talk about, people spend their money all day long. But if they feel the value is below, they're gonna keep that. They're gonna put that money in their pocket, and that's what people who are learned on money is. They keep their money in their pocket and try to use someone else's money to do the things that they need. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
So it's
Yep.
important to get those kids early, so that when they have a dollar, right, just use that because we can figure it out. The kid that's good with money is gonna go in that store and come out with some change. The kid that's not is gonna ask you to borrow a couple extra nickels because he or she's gonna buy too much.
Let's pivot to Black history. Um, Tell us, what do you think are some pivotal moments in Black history that have shaped our current understanding of financial systems?
Um, First, I believe that we have to see it to believe it. Right? We're people with not a lot of trust because of again what has transpired. But when you start seeing, and I don't want to get people out of reach like black billionaires because there are some female and male. Um, that kind of thing starts to really, really hit home. Because if you're not seeing it, you're not believing it. If that makes sense, right?
Hmm.
So I use our family for instance. It's the culture. We're tight on money, but we spend it, and we spend it on brand name things. We're not ones to go and we're not ones to go and not have a name on our jeans when we wear or an emblem on our shoes. You know what I mean? We're kings, we're queens, we're those type of people. It's already instilled in us. So the money aspect on it, since we just generationally or spiritually, we're someone else, right? This is just our avatar. We're not, how can I say it? We're not the person that's broke. We're not, because we are spiritual people. We understand that money is to be used and utilized. We're in a system right now that capitalism is more than you being a person and helping each other. So to be able to get to where we need to go, in short, we need to get back to with one hand watching the other. We need to help each other. We need to understand that we became great when we utilized each other, when we found businesses or people who look like us who were in our community, and we didn't let that money get out of the community. Okay, money, it shouldn't get out of the community. We shouldn't go, and this is not against anyone else. We have to learn to be patient with each other and find ways to build and do business with each other, and that
You
and
know,
help and truly help each other. So it won't be a financial situation. It won't be material because we didn't operate on the material. We didn't have to deal with that. Everyone had what we needed. We lived off the land. The universe provided us what we needed. We didn't need a lot of that stuff. We had gold, platinum, diamonds, pearls. I mean, vegetables, fruit, fish. We had all of that, right? That was more valuable than this money. This money thing was a creation of the current ruling bodies. That's what that
so
was.
to just from a historical perspective, when we talk about these markets, we could talk about the crash in 1911. Um, we could just talk about money in general. From a historical context, um, you know, uh, our forefathers weren't really trusting of banks regardless of the case, and learned how to save our money and used it for the way we thought we could use it, and they were very successful at that. So, with that being said, and knowing that how the game has changed and evolved now here into the 21st century, what are some of those techniques from back in the 18th century that people in the 21st century can use for their financial gain?
Yes. So let's go there. So my granddad used to bury his money. Okay. When I say bury, and this is figurative and literally, because they didn't trust the banks because they understood they couldn't get their money when they wanted to. You have to have all types of ID and all these types of things. So obviously you're gonna have they relied on the church a lot. We'll go on that subject some other time, but they relied on the church a lot as well, because people still were people. People still could rob you and all these things. But we were community based. I mean, even in 1911, if you look at how it started, even Black Wall Street, okay, if you look at how these and how everything started, is when we had a family. First of all, we knew in the community, we knew who needed what. Okay, we knew who needed what, and because of that, no one went without. Kids didn't go without. Families didn't go without. Everyone pooled in their money together. First, it was families, then it's relatives. So and it grew. It just grew. I feel like we have to get back more to that. We have to get back to taking responsibility for our communities.
Mm-hmm.
100%. And with that goes along with the education of money and this money. But the money can't be more valuable than the person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to get to. We now have the money more valuable than the people. It wasn't like that in the old days. We learned how to utilize the money in this capitalistic system. So if we have community members together and they meet in churches, community centers, this is the way it is for now, then these are the topics that we have to be talking about in those structures. We have to put it on instead of churches taking our parishioners' money during tithes. When tithing wasn't about money, somebody, I'm challenging you now, put it in the comments. Tell me when tithing was about money. Never was about money. So, what is the churches really done for us and done for our people on the financial side? Because that's who we relied on. That's where we went for comfort, for education, to trust. We trusted. So let's get back to that. Let's get back to doing what's right. If our churches raise their hand and say, we have taken millions, billions from our parishioners, and they're still reading the same chapter in the same book, 30 years. What has that done to our people too? What can they do to help correct this? You got parishioners starving. It ain't about you and me just talking about financial literacy and helping. We got to look at who ain't teaching the financial literacy and helping when we're coming giving this money under tithing because you put this on us and we can't get help back or we can't get it back. Where have you invested my money these 30 years, these 20 years? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we need to, let's address this. We can't just do it ourselves, right? If we're meeting places or these churches and these synagogues and these places, then they bear a lot of the responsibility for the position of their people. You can't tell me they don't. There's no way you can teach me just about so-called you're teaching me. I don't know what you're teaching me, but you're reading a book, but it ain't teaching me about my welfare and how do I save? How do I prepare to have kids? How do I take care of these kids? How much am I going to need to take care of these kids?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because some people don't have grandparents to really
Right.
guide them through that. So the legacy that we had though is we had great grandparents, grandparents, and they worked their butts off to acquire land, acquire this or that. Then their kids, some of them got that, the oldest and all of that, and then so the legacy part of it, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
how we maintained the money. That's how we stayed ahead of the game, even though we didn't have anything. The little bit that we did have, we prepared it. We made sure that the next one got it, and we moved on. That's why don't leave your kids' house. Leave it in a trust. This way, they don't got to worry about it. They don't get encumbered by taxes and all this other stuff, and they won't sell it. Everybody gets to use it, right? And we can keep moving up. So we have to. That's part of finance too, by the way. We have to learn those things and not have the limiting beliefs that they taught us. Oh, I'm gonna leave your house. I'm gonna leave you this. No. Put it in a trust so that he can't come and get it if I miss a payment, and it stays in the Williams name. So churches have to. I feel like they got to raise their hand. They got to come clean, give back some of that money to our people. So and teach us and to help. Let's help and teach our people about finances and not just take money from them. So I'm putting a big thing on that because we're one of the most spiritual people. We are the most out there. There's no doubt about it. Stuff we went through and still be here. There's no way we should be begging. There's no way we should be asking for handouts when we got multi-billion-dollar churches out there, cats with jets and ladies with limos. So I want to put it on that charge. If I blame anything, I want to blame and put a little bit on. But to come out of it, we need to get together, stop pointing our fingers at our people who need help going to grocery stores. Nobody should be food challenged. Stop pointing our fingers at people who may not have a Gucci bag and things like that. In fact, stop buying the damn Gucci bag because you could buy 20 other bags, book bags, and help other kids, or you could help them buy lunches and things like that because you don't need but one of them. You shouldn't have 5 or 10. I know cats I work with got 20 pair of sneakers, 30 pair, 50 pair of $200 sneakers, and still live in an apartment.
But yeah, so just in that moment though, and just thinking about, from the 18th century to here in the 21st century, and my thing is, I'm thinking about like when these people saved money.
Yeah,
This money, of course, they didn't worry about money that was out the economy because they didn't think about it that way because everything was still trying to come up to be industrialized.
right.
And so these people had money under mattresses, as you say, your grandfather buried money.
Heard it.
They have money pretty much all over the place. And you never knew those secret hiding places. But when times got to when they need to get that money, they already had it and they were not worried.
Cash.
Here in this 21st century, it's like, people are doing this extraordinary amount of spending. They're just spending money.
Credit.
And it's wasteful. And the reason why it's wasteful is because people are being so hooked on these things that they're hearing and they're seeing and saying, oh, I need to have that. My thing is that I think for people in our communities, if they really, really thought about one, am I really going to save something or put something aside in some shape, form, or fashion for my kids, my grandkids, my great grandkids?
Exactly.
I think I understand the teaching of the financial literacy part, but with that comes more concepts
Yes.
of basically how you actually make that work.
Right.
Because the one thing you preferenced, this top of the show is that the largest consumers are African Americans.
Yes.
And so if we're the largest consumers and we're giving all these people all of our money, none of that money is coming back to our communities. But when we think about it, and now that so many people now are starting to put the light on that issue and that situation, how do we actually gather? It's not going to be all because there's some people now that's just too far gone that they're never going to come back.
Right.
But for those that are about building their communities, what are some of the things that we need to do to get these people to contribute